Hey guys, Ezra here. Welcome back to another Ezra review. And on today's review, I want to talk about this new movie called Red One. Now, this is a Christmas comedy action movie, and it's directed by jakekasdan and written by Chrismorgan and stars Dwayne Johnson, Chris Evans, lucyliu, jksimmons, and kiernanshipka. And it is again, I actually did not expect this movie to be released quite early in my country because I think in the United States, this movie was supposed to be released next week, so I kind of get that a week earlier in here in Indonesia, so I think that's really cool. And yeah, I honestly did not watch any trailer for this movie, I just know that it's a Christmas movie with Dwayne Johnson and Chris Evans, so I was like, well, okay, it could be fun, and wow, it is indeed a really fun Christmas movie, I think it's a really rare Christmas movie that I actually enjoy, because it's been a while since I really enjoy a Christmas movie, Not to say that they're completely gone, but I feel like the previous years has just been, I don't know, it's just like it's okay, like it's nothing at the same time, Like I rarely found a Christmas movie that I could find to be special, And I feel like if I was a kid and I was watching this movie, then I will absolutely love the movie, Because so far, after watching this movie, guys, I actually felt really happy, because this movie is so much fun, and the movie itself, it tells a story for when Santa Claus is kidnapped, Callum Drift, which is a character played by Dwayne Johnson. He is the head of the North Pole Security, must team up with Jack O'Malley, which is a bounty hunter, Chris Evans' character, to find and rescue him, So that's the basic plot about the movie, And so far, we get to see Dwayne Johnson and Chris Evans' chemistry in the screens together, where they try to save Santa Claus, played by J.K. Simmons, and yeah, overall, in terms of the performance of the actors here, I think they're really fun. I mean, Dwayne Johnson is playing himself, of course. Like every single movie that he plays, he's just himself. But Chris Evans has a blast in his role. I think he's such a fun actor. And J.K. Simmons as Santa Claus is good. But I kind of wish that we get to see a bit more of him. Because again, he was kidnapped, so he was like pretty much missing throughout the most of the movie. But when he was there, he was having a blast, with the role. And lucyliu as this like director of like the agency of the mystical department or something like that, because like there is a bunch of mystical or fantasy creature in this movie, which is I think is really awesome that the government actually know about this creature existence and actually have like a separate division that actually work for this fantasy creature, and lucyliu is the director of the department, and she's great, and of course, I gotta talk about kiernanshipka, who plays a witch in this movie. She is also a really fun villain. Again, I wish there's a bit more of her character, but every single time she appears on the screen, she is having a blast. She is beautiful, by the way. As this evil witch in this movie. Like it's insane that I know kiernanshipka from the slasher movie called Totally Killers. Which is like a slasher movie mid Back to the Future. I think it's a really fun slasher movie now, and then Kiana was also in Long Legs, which is like I didn't even notice that it was actually her playing this one character in the asylum. I think she did a great job on that movie, and now she's in this one, with Red One with Dwayne Johnson and Chris Evans, so like she's really popping off, and I'm really glad for that, because I think she is a talented actress, and once again she's having a blast playing these witch characters, so overall all the performances are great, and of course, let's talk about the action. I think the action about this movie is also really fun to watch. There is some couple of like CGI and VFX, action sequence, but I feel like they are really comical to the point that it becomes really fun, because this action movie was supposed to be for family, like family watching a Christmas movie, though, then yeah, you would absolutely enjoy the action sequence in this movie, because I think it's really bombastic. It's kind of like a action sequence in Fast and Furious, but except minus the cars, it's just like Dwayne Johnson and Chris Evans just like fighting a bunch of people in this movie, a bunch of like fantasy creatures, by the way, and it is such a fun time every single time the action are in play in this movie, and of course the VFX as well. There's a lot of like visual effects in this movie. I think the VFX are great. I think they are looking like they're not again, they're not bad looking. So that's a good thing. At the very least. Because sometimes the VFX in the modern movie, they could be a hit or a miss. But I feel like Red One did the VFX really well done, to the point that yeah, I could believe that that thing actually was right there. That fantasy creature was actually right in front of the main characters. Like it's a really good VFX. I absolutely love that. And I also love the music by Henry Jackman as well. It's really bombastic. It captures the Christmas spirit sometimes. And it's just, yeah, it's great overall. But I have like a little bit of criticism about the characters in this movie. Because I think Dwayne Johnson's character are, I mean, it does the job. And I feel like everybody's character also, it does the job. And but there is this family characters. Basically Chris Evans family characters in the movie that doesn't really work. Because Chris Evans' character Jack O'Malley actually had a son, and a wife, and he basically abandoned his wife and kid, because he's working as a bounty hunter again and a hacker, and he has this idea that, hey, I'm gonna leave them alone because I don't want to endanger them, But the movie itself has a classic message, for Chris Evans' character to once again believe in Christmas, and in order to do that, he has to reconcile his relationship with his son, But I feel like his son, I guess the age of his sons, Dylan, was actually in middle school or maybe in early high school, And I feel like it's such a huge mistake, because I feel like his son should have been like a 10-year-old kid, that actually still trying to believe in Santa Claus, to the point that Chris Evans' character can actually relate to him again by the end of the movie, because I think, again, it's not exactly a complete failure, I think it does the job, like I said before, but I feel like it would be much better if his son was actually just a 10-year-old kid, I feel like that would be totally much more relatable in terms of the story, where obviously the message of the story is to see the Christmas spirits once again, and that's like the basic message on every single Christmas movie, that you need to believe in Santa Claus, you need to believe in the Christmas spirit, It's a classic message, it's fine, it's working, and that's like the formula. The same formula was used in this movie, for Dwayne Johnson's character and Chris Evans' character, but I just wish that the son was actually a kid, I think that would be much better for the storytelling, I kind of wish that his wife would have a bigger role, I guess, in this movie, and I feel like we never see the family completely reconcile, but I feel like, yeah, you know what, at least he reconciled with his son, so I guess there's that, but yeah, besides that, I mean, I think overall this is like a fun movie, oh, by the way, I almost forgot the plot about this movie. I feel like if you're really thinking a bit too much, then, well, it doesn't make any sense, because you need to turn off your brain when you were watching this movie, because like the plot is sometimes maybe it's a bit much, because like the bad guy's plan was actually kind of smart but also kind of dumb in a way, but by the time you get to the third act, I was like, okay, well, there's a bit of a plot hole that you can actually pick from the movie, if you're actually using or if you're actually like nitpicking a bit too much, about the story, and of course, speaking of nitpicking, I guess again, the action in this movie was actually super fantastical, right? All these fantastical or like mythical creature get thrown around left and right, like they slam into the ground, they slam into like a concrete wall, and the wall just break, basically like an action sequence that you see in a superhero movie, and Dwayne Johnson's character are fantastical, like he's an elf, right? And then Jakesimmons is a Santa Claus, and then you have other creature as well, that also a fantasy creature, so like it makes sense that these characters are able to survive a heavy blow to the head, a heavy blows to like the ground, to the wall, and something like that, like it makes sense. But Chris Evans' character are just normal human, and yet in the movie, especially in the third act of the movie, you see his character actually went through a lot, like slamming himself to the ground really hard, getting punched by like a giant creature, and then he is somehow fine, and I just don't get that a lot, and I feel like that kind of bothered me a little bit, because I was like, wait, you're a normal human, like how do you survive getting thrown around by a giant creature? Because again, he was slamming hard into the ground, and then in the next scene he was completely fine. And I was like, what the hell, man? He's a normal human being, like he shouldn't survive getting thrown around like that, like a ragdoll essentially, and how the hell he survived that, because again, Dwayne Johnson's character surviving that makes sense. He's a a fantasy character, but Chris Evans' character are just normal humans, so how the hell he survived that doesn't make any sense for me, but either way, I still think the third act is still really fun time, and I think the whole movie is just like a really fun time, and yeah, it's nice to see Chrismorgan, who wrote this movie. You might know him from the Fast and Furious movie. Like I feel like this is like a great, I guess like a great example how Chrismorgan was able to write a completely fantasy and kind of like a dumb fun movie, but at the same time has some heart to the story, at least like attempted to do that, and I feel like Chris Morgan does a solid job in terms of the screenplay about the movie. And I also want to praise jakekasdan as well, the director about the movie. You might know him from he directed the two sequel Jumanji movies, which also starred Dwayne Johnson, and yeah, he does a great job with the action, with the directing as well. I think the visual of also really great, but besides that, guys, after this, I want to talk a little bit about the budget about this movie, because this movie's budget is 250 million, which is really insane. Like when you see this movie, it feels like a really epic action scale of Christmas movie, and I feel like, yeah, it's been a while since we see a huge Christmas movie before, so I think it's a good thing. However, the budget basically blew my mind. I was like, damn, 250 million, like that's insane, and the reason why it was 250 million is because of, well, one person, Dwayne Johnson, because Dwayne Johnson got paid 50 million to star in this movie. And to me, that's just insane, like how much that people were willing to pay Dwayne Johnson that amount of money to star in this one movie. Because again, remember, guys, this is like a completely original movie. Like it wasn't part of like a bigger franchise, it wasn't part of like Marvel or like DC franchise. Like this is like a completely original movie. And I think it's insane that the studio was willing to pay Dwayne Johnson 50 million to star in this movie. I mean, I get it, he's like the #1 actor in Hollywood, but at the same time, I don't think he has a range in his acting, in my opinion, and I feel like his ego is really huge, and I feel like people are starting to turn on Dwayne Johnson, even I started to turn on Dwayne Johnson, because I feel like his ego was really huge, and I feel like he doesn't deserve this amount of money, but at the same time, that's also insane, and of course, the other 50 million, so with 50 million to Dwayne Johnson, the other 50 million is actually because of Dwayne Johnson's erratic behavior in the set of this movie, so even though I'm having a fun time watching this movie, it's kind of like it kind of sucks that in the behind the scenes of the making of this movie, that Dwayne Johnson basically late to appear to film, by 7 to 8 hours, and basically missed several days of shooting. And because of these delays, the budget got increased to 50 million, because of Dwayne Johnson's basically missing the schedule, and I feel like, I don't know, man, that's kind of like a scum thing to do, man. Like, come on, it was denied by the producer of this movie, but I feel like I don't really believe the producer, because the producer are a friend of Dwayne Johnson, so he might just be looking up to his friend, but yeah, that is insane. I know this is not part of the review, but I just want to mention that because it was insane that this movie was 250 million, and all of that is because of Dwayne Johnson. This movie could have been like 200 million, but because of his apparently erotic behavior on set, showing up delay for shooting his scenes, and it basically bumped up the budget to 50 million more, and it's just insane in my opinion. Like, holy shit, but yeah, either way, that's, I still think this movie is really fun, I mean, everybody does a solid job, and I think if you guys watch this movie with your family, then I think you guys gonna have a really fun time. So, it's nearly Christmas, I mean, it's November, but usually in November people just like, okay, let's prepare ourselves for Christmas, so like, yeah, why not? Like, it's been a while since we see like a big epic scale Christmas movie, so like, why not watch this movie with your family? I think you guys will have a fun time, and yeah, regardless of the of the budget and stuff like that, I think this movie will probably did well in the box office. Maybe, who knows, because it has Dwayne Johnson and Chris Evans, so that should be enough to draw people in, and yeah, we'll see how the movie will perform at the box office, because the budget is insane, yeah, let me know in the comment section below, guys, if you guys already watched Rat 1, what do you guys think about this movie? Do you guys want it to be a fun time, or do you guys someone who did not like this movie? So share your opinions in the comment section below, guys, and stay tuned for more reviews in the future, guys. And again, make sure, guys, believe in the subscribe and like button, guys, share the videos, do usual stuff, and I hope you guys enjoy this review. Stay tuned for more reviews in the future, guys, and again, I will see you guys in the next one then. Bye.